Hey there, guys. It's Vampire Preacher. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. You'll be noticing I'm not wearing a Marvel shirt. I'm actually wearing a Toy Story shirt. That's because I'm not going to be unboxing Marvel Legends today. You heard me correctly. I will not be unboxing Marvel Legends today. Please hold. Before you start coming at me with the pitchforks and all of that, please hold. So, there's like no Marvel Legends out right now. Like nothing. I have two right now. I have the Legendary Riders Squirrel Girl, and I've got one of the Stepford Cuckoos. That's all that I have. Beyond that, we don't get the new Black Widow set until probably next month. There's nothing else that's really come out. It's been pretty dead this month. So we're hurting for our Marvel Legends. And if you guys were here last week, you'll know all about the DC unboxing we did. I know, again. We had some DC figures, might as well unbox them. Well, just like the DC figures, we've got a new set of figures for a new IP, and it's entirely because of discounts. Massive discounts. Deep discounts. Stupid discounts. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be unboxing Overwatch figures. Specifically, the Hasbro Overwatch figures. Let me explain. So, a good friend of mine in the streaming community, his name's Rhetoric. He's cool people. Make sure you give him a follow. He's a good guy. He's a big Overwatch fan. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I've played some Overwatch here and there. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I know, again. Relax, people. So, I've played it, and I main Reaper. So, already, people prefer me not to play Overwatch because I main Reaper and Mei. So most people prefer me not to play at all. Because nobody likes Reaper, nobody likes Mei except for this guy. I am a terrible person to play video games with. Anyway. My friend, Rhetoric, is a big fan of Junkrat. Well, I found out that these figures, I knew about their existence for a while. And that's neat. That's cool and all. Then I found out they started to go to discount stores. Namely Ross. Okay, if I find one, whatever. And I found exactly one. Okay, that's neat. And it was Junkrat. Cool. Then I found out that other stores started to do these deep discounts. Walmart has the individual figures for $5 a figure, the same price that I paid for Junkrat. They even had a 2-pack of figures for $5. So that was another 5 figures. And then I found out that Target had a big discount on some figures, so that was another 2. And I found out that GameStop had their figures all on massive discount. And well, now we've got a full 6v6 team. I know you Overwatch purists out there are going to say, but Vamp, unfortunately, a proper Overwatch team is 2 healers, 2 tanks, and 2 damage per team. Listen, man. Did you actually take a look at the roster that Hasbro put out? They did not put out 2, 2, and 2, okay? You want to know what they put out? They put out a whole, just absolute mess, and I mean a mess, of DPS figures. Like a couple healers and 1 tank. Now there's 2 tanks because I think Zanya? I'm forgetting her name. I know that someone's gonna destroy me in the comments with that. I'm pretty sure she's a tank. But I know she's not like Bastion or Wrecking Ball. So, before you come at me about how it's not properly put up teams, look, man, I'm working with what I got. Hasbro didn't put out everybody. They didn't even put out May. And that makes me upset. That hurts me. It gets me right here. Just like they didn't put out a proper Reaper. And that again gets me right here. But it's okay. It's okay. Because we've got some stuff for you today. Hopefully this will go well. It's already not gone well. It's already not gone well at all. But, without further ado, you didn't come here to hear me talk on and on. You came here for action figures. So, our first figure of the day is going to be the one that started off this whole mess. It's going to be Junkrat. So he started off this insanity that is me now having 12 figures for a game that I've played like 4 times ever. So, let's get into it, shall we? So, we've got, again, these are a Hasbro product, so cool there. They're gonna be probably like we'll call it what it is. It's Overwatch Marvel Legends. We're calling a duck here. It's Overwatch Marvel Legends. We've got a pseudo window pane front here with an artistic rendering here. All of our details about Junkrat over here, including his country of origin, his occupation, his actual name and age. Junkrat is only 25. He looks way older than 25. Anyway, Zarya. That's who I meant. I think she's a tank, and I'm not even 100% sure of that. I know Reinhardt is. I think Zarya is. I don't actually know. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I don't know. So, let's get our opening tool and see exactly what these guys come with. Now, we know that they do not come with build-to-figure pieces, even though that would be kind of neat. I'd be kind of interested in all of them coming with a piece of, like, Doomfist or Wrecking Ball. Heck, Bastion. So, we do have our little background piece here, and it's just orange. It's just orange. That's it. It's orange. Not anything cool or designed, or it's orange. However, what we've got inside of here is probably going to be our fun stuff. We've got an extra hand. We have his main, if I can pop it out here, his main mine launcher here. Not even sure if you'd consider this a mine or a grenade. I think it's just grenades, not mines. Whereas this is more of his actual mines. The tire, of course. Who could have Junkrat without a tire? A detonator molded into a hand, so you don't need to try and do that. That's actually kind of smart. And Jameson Fox himself. So we're getting some interesting accessories on him. We got the 2 extra hands, including the thing to go boom for, again, mine. Yep, he does indeed have some pegs on the back here, so that you can attach the tire to his back. I think there's even a spot for the mine to go. Another thing that I found really interesting with these is these effect pieces. Now, I know I'd heard that these guys had effect pieces. I just Hasbro, this is a good thing, but include it with all of your figures. I know you're just now starting to give us effects like this for Marvel Legends with our upcoming Black Widows. Maybe try doing this a bit more. I think you'll find your fans really appreciate it. And when instead of just having a static grenade launcher here, you can actually just pop this guy in, make it so he's actively shooting, or passively not. But that's actually kind of awesome. Good job, Hasbro. You've done something well. I see something else with this figure here. We're going to have a little discussion about Hasbro. We're going to be discussing this in a second. Right now, let's get into our articulation here. So, for Junkrat's head, you can actually look down really, really well. And he can look up actually pretty crazy well, too. His hair gets a little bit in the way with his backpack here. Which, again, it looks like there's a separate peg here for that mine. Looks like this actually comes out, because we've already got one peg kind of half undone. Is that just an extra support for the tire? I do not know. Maybe it's extra support for the mine? I don't know. Again, it's half undone on his back anyway, so we'll figure that out later on. For his shoulder articulation, better than a T-pose. Oh, and butterfly. Hasbro? Are you telling me this Junkrat figure can get butterfly shoulders on a brand new mold, and you can't... We're gonna be having some words, Hasbro. He does have the bicep swivels. He looks to have double jointed elbows, I believe, but this one can only bend up so far. Whereas his other arm... Ladies and gentlemen, first figure of the day. What's he giving us? What do you love? What do I love? We love that good flex. And Junkrat has given it to us. Jameson Fox. Junkrat has given us that good flex. We're going to just keep on going here. We've got our standard in and out wrist articulation. That's for both sides. Now, I noticed something on this as I was unboxing him, and I'm completely correct here. Jameson here, Junkrat, has, if you can see closely there, up top we have an ab swivel. And a little bit lower, we have an ab crunch. We have both. On a pretty thin figure. Hasbro, I know that the Marvel fandom is giving you guys a lot of money. Use this kind of articulation in Marvel Legends. So we've got a ab swivel here that has side-to-side movement, as you can see here. Can go this far forward and this far back. Then we have the ab crunch that also goes this far forward and that far back. We don't need a waist cut because we have an ab swivel. I couldn't have said it better myself. For our Hip articulation. Fairly decent, especially seeing as how these torn up shorts of his are a very rigid plastic. I'd say we have no thigh cuts, but I'd be lying. They're inside of our shorts. He does have double jointed knees. However, the shorts here are making it so that he really only has single jointed knees. Even his peg leg has... It's a single jointed peg leg? It looks like it's a single... I'm not entirely sure. I believe it's a single jointed peg leg. But it's even got the thigh cut on it. He also has a boot cut for his actual boot. But no... Oh, he has some ankle articulation here. He's just got like a ball peg on this ankle, which is a tad unusual, but hey man, I'll take it at this point. And yeah, that's what I thought. That's more so a place for his peg leg to go into on his mine. I was thinking it was a place for him to put the mine onto his backpack, but no, that's just a place for his peg leg to go into. Now, he's not standing up real well for me right now. I noticed that his legs were a little bit bowed earlier. But that's alright. We'll get him to stand for our thumbnail picture, or for any further photography we do with these. Because if you think I didn't get a full squad of 6v6 to do some photography with them, you are 100% incorrect. I mean, that's actually a really cool look. That's a really cool look. Hasbro, since we're here, we gotta talk. We gotta talk for a second, Hasbro. You put so much into a completely new IP with Overwatch. You put in new sculpting. You put in new engineering with having both the ab swivel and ab crunch on one small figure. You put in some brand new molds. Everything here, I'm sure, is a brand new mold, because you can't just reuse the same 3 bodies that you've been reusing for Marvel Legends for ages. And you made something really fun. Why can't you do this with Marvel Legends, Hasbro? This is fun. This is the kind of thing I'd like to see on my Legends. Give us this kind of effort, you'll sell even more figures. Now again, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm biased. I got this figure for a grand whopping total of $5. It's a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun. Would I have paid $20 for it? Probably not. But again, I'm not an Overwatch player. Well, not much of an Overwatch player. For $5, this is awesome. This is fun. This is actually really cool. If you can find this figure, which again, check your local Walmarts, check your local Targets, go check your GameStops, go check Ross. They got him. It's $5. If you can find him, pick him up for $5. What do you really have to lose at $5? Not a whole lot. And you'll have something really cool. It's better than sponsoring certain streamers who demand you sponsor them, because this is at least permanent, not month by month. Before I give him a rating, we're going to break out our old T-square friend here. Go back to our hand cam for a half a second. I'm going to try and get him to stand as tall as I can, as evenly as I can. He's coming in just under 6.5 inches from the tips of his hair. Which means he's scaled with Marvel Legends, yeah, pretty much perfectly. So if you want to make a real weird AU, or just have some fun with your figures, yeah. There you go. Or otherwise, you know what? Weapons are cool enough to give to someone else. If I've got to give him a rating, which, of course, that's why most of y'all are here, I'm going to have to give him a 7. He's fun. He's a fun figure, and he's new engineering. If Hasbro can keep this kind of thing up, good on you. Now, of course, I've already heard that they've canceled the third wave of these figures, so I don't know how much they're going to be keeping it up. But if they can keep up this kind of energy, with, again, giving us new molds, giving us new engineering like this, Hasbro, you might just be able to stay afloat. For our next figure, you know what? I'll go in the order in which I grabbed these guys, because they, like I said, I bought them all because they were on this stupid sale. Our next figure of the day, then, is going to be Turn It Up. It's Lucio. So, let's see what we've got. Once again, we've got our pseudo window pane here, our artistic rendering of Lucio. Our stats all about one of our only 3 healers versus all of the damage classes that we got. Other figures that are in this wave. Inside of here, again, the background is nothing special. It's just that standard orange background that we talked about before. Inside, though, we've got some neat stuff. We've got Lucio's sound gun. We've got some of his rollerblade trails. An extra punching hand on him. Not sure if I'm ever going to have Lucio as doing anything with punching. And an extra pointing hand, which I know he uses in one of his taunts. I think he used it in his win pose too, but I am not a Lucio player, so I'll be honest with y'all, I don't really know. And then, of course, we've got Lucio himself. Which, again, I'm seeing some really unique engineering on the figure. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little bit mad at you right now, Hasbro. Because you're putting a lot of really unique engineering into these figures for this new IP, giving us nada for our Marvel Legends. Guys, trust me, you will not go wrong with trying to make your fans happy. Now our Sonic gun gets plugged in up here. So that he can hold it like so. if we can get it to stay in, that is. Probably gonna need to bend the arm. Just saying. Something or another tells me we're gonna actually need to use the double jointed elbows, which... Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you already, we already got it. Lucio's already given us that thing. We know it on the channel, we love it on the channel, we never get to see it on the channel, at least not with our Marvel Legends. He's given us that good flex. Come on now. Come on, guys. That's 2 for 2 with these figures, and like 1 for 7 with Marvel Legends. Come on. Let's get into our articulation. So, for our neck articulation. Lucio's looking down pretty well. And if it weren't for the backpack and the hair, he'd be able to look up. And the hair actually is removable. Alright, because it's on a peg, so you can move it around. So, since you can move his hair, unlike most Legends, he actually can look up really well. Can be moved completely out of the way of getting in the way of his backpack. His scouter here is getting a little messed up. It's coming up because it's not glued down on this side, just on this side, but whatevs. I do note we also have butterfly shoulders with Lucio. Yeah, Lucio also has butterfly shoulders here. So far, we're 2 for 2 with butterfly shoulders for Overwatch. And again, like 1 out of 7, if we're lucky, with MLs. He, of course, has the bicep swivels. We've already seen that he's got that good flex. He's got the in and out wrist articulation. Just like with Junkrat, we've got both the ab swivel, which has, as we've seen, this kind of range back and forth. Can go this far forward just with the swivel, and with the swivel alone, that far back. But he also has an ab crunch, so he can go that far back with just the ab crunch, and that far forward with just the ab crunch. Hasbro, if you gave us this kind of detail, this kind of articulation, and this kind of engineering with Marvel Legends, you'd hear a lot more really happy, Marvel collectors out there. We don't need the waist cut if you've given us the ab swivel and ab crunch. He does have thigh cuts, as we can see here with his massive robot legs. Robot pants, I suppose you would say. For his hip articulation, that's a great spread. His knees are only single jointed. That's all the range you're getting out of these knees, is there to there. It's not a whole lot. He does have what appears to be the standard Marvel Legend rocker ankles, where it can go that far back, that far forward, a disturbing degree in, an absolutely painful degree out. Hasbro, I love you guys. You are absolutely killing me. You are absolutely killing me right now. If you gave MLs half of this, as far as articulation goes, man, people wouldn't be all up in arms when they heard that you all did a $1.50 price increase. You know why? Because it's actually a decent figure. because it's actually fun. With 10 seconds of movement, I can take him and actually make him look like he's in motion. Hunch him down a little bit. I mean, it's a vibrant character, and it took no time at all to pose. It's not like with Marvel, you're working with nothings. You're working with what has been called the modern myths. Marvel has been called the makers of modern myths. Partially because they put actual gods into their comics. Partially because they've got their mythology that they make. And it's just... I mean, come on. That's fun. That's a fun figure to just pose for even 10 seconds. Come on. That's better than my best Marvel Legend. My best ML can't get anywhere near this kind of fun range. That you gave to a brand new property. Hasbro, I love you guys. You are absolutely killing me with this. If all of your figures are like this, I might be a little bit mad. I might be a little bit salty that you're making this kind of new engineering and you're not bringing it over to an audience that you're just pumping out figures to. Before we give him our rating, let's find out just how tall Lucio is. Can get him to stand back up all the way. So our Lucio figure here, we're looking at from the very tip top of the dreads, just over 6 inches. If you pop the dreads off, we're looking at just under 6 inches. If I had to give him a rating, the only things holding him back are lack of movement in the knees. Yeah, lack of movement in the knees. He's easier to stand than Junkrat is, but he's got more articulation than Junkrat does. Or, well, he's got more stabilization than Junkrat, at least. Because he's got the tracks that we could put him on. Which, if you're not displaying these with as many effects pieces as they come with, what are you doing? Again, I will repeat to you guys, if you enjoy these, this is completely not sponsored, but if you enjoy these, Lucio here, just like Junkrat, he was $5. I got him at my local Walmart. He was $5. I'm going to give him that as a rating, too. He's going to be a 5 out of 10. He's going to be a 5. There's a couple things that I could have seen with the engineering, specifically in the robot legs, just making him a little bit better. But he's fun. He's fun. I can't say any of these are worthy of the bin, unlike with Hasbro's. I don't know if it's their biggest or their second biggest, or I know it's one of their biggest selling IPs with Marvel. And they're being blown out of the water with these. For our next figure. Again, because we're just going these in the order in which we acquired them. we've got Sombra. This, I acquired her at the same time as I did Lucio. $5 each. That's it. So, let's get into what we've got here. Sombra, once again, we've got that faux window pane front. We've got that animated style representation of her here on the side. We've got all about her here on the back. Her name, which has been redacted. Her country of origin, and other figures in the wave. Inside of here, it's not looking like much for Sombra, which is sad because when I'm not playing, I can speak today. When I'm not playing as Reaper and I'm not playing as Mei, I actually do like to play as Sombra. She's just healer enough and just support enough, while also being a damage-heavy character that I enjoy her. And she's tactical with the mines and everything. We've also got 2 extra hands here. They both look to be, not sure if I'd call them gripping hands or what. Sombra, they made very, very tiny, and the coat here is mostly soft goods, so I don't know what they sculpted her like underneath, but I'm not really going to find out either. Also trying to figure out how in the world I would attach this to her hand here. Because it looks like that's how it's going to attach. Is via the thumb in here. I'll work on that at another time. So, let's get into her articulation. For our neck, she's looking down all right degree, looking back somewhat. Can't say she's looking back too well, as there is some plastic flash inside of here for her outfit that's making it so that she can't go any further back than that. I believe she's got... What kind of articulation we got going here? She has... Are you kidding me right now, Hasbro? Are you kidding me? She has an ab crunch. You figured out how to put an ab crunch on a female figure and just said, you know, screw you to all of your Marvel collectors. Oh. Y'all, I'm straight up mad.
I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm really, really, really mad.
I'm straight up mad. I'm not even gonna play. I'm straight up mad. For our shoulder articulation. Better than a T-pose. I'm not getting butterfly shoulders out of her. At least not as far as I know. We do still only have single jointed elbows, which... Hasbro, ladies and gentlemen. All I can possibly say to that is Hasbro. We do have an ab crunch in here, but because of the coat, that's all the articulation we're getting out of her. And it's a very loose bit of articulation, too. for her hip articulation. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. We do, of course, have thigh cuts. She does have a set of double jointed knees, which can go pretty far back. It can go almost all the way back. She's got a little bit of extra flash on the back of her legs here with these, looks like some supports on the back of her calves there, but yeah, they can go almost all the way back. She does have the rocker ankles that can go a decent degree in, an incredibly painful degree out, pretty far forward, and can go all the way on point back. All in all, she's the weakest out of the figures we've had so far, but to be fair, it's Hasbro. I'm not expecting anything less. They don't care about their female figures for some reason or another. She's coming in at just under 6 inches. Actually, just over 5.5 if I'm being honest. So they actually have a scale going with their figures. Unlike Marvel Legends scale, which is just kind of all over the place. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with her mines, because I know in the game her mines can go like on the walls and stuff, and I know they're not mines, they're more of a sentry turret. That being said, I couldn't agree more. Maybe a glue dot would be the best case for putting these up. That's the best I have, is maybe a glue dot. As far as the figure goes, I'm going to say she's a 5. She's not fantastic. She honestly is, compared to the other two, she's kind of a letdown. But she's still fun enough. She's got some neat accessories with her ridiculously overpowered Uzi here. Her little hacking tool, which is just kind of fun. Actually, before we move on from her, I'm going to give you guys kind of a close-up there so you can see it's actually the happy skull face for the hacking tool. She's interesting. Is she a great figure? No. No, I'm not going to lie to y'all. No, she's not great. Which is kind of sad, because again, she's a figure she's a character I actually play as. So, it's a light bit tragic. Oh well, what can you do? For our next set of figures, because yes, it's a set, we've got the old pharmacy combo. Farah and Mercy. As I said with the others, this is the exact same case. I went to Walmart because I heard they were on sale there. I got Lucio. I got Sombra. I saw Farah and Mercy and went, yeah, why not? If I'm trying to make a 6-man team, I might as well. And eventually it became a 6v6 team. It was labeled as $25, and then I rang it up, and it was $5. This 2-pack is $5. If you can find it, might be a good idea to pick it up. But let's find out before we go just saying, definitely grab it. The only reason I'd say to grab it right now, it's a $40 pack for $5. If you're a fan of Overwatch, might not be a bad idea. But let's get into what we've got here. We've got our pseudo window pane with our artistic representations of the two characters. We've got all of our stats for the two. Plus all, and I mean like all of the figures that came out at the time. Trying to figure out if there's any on here that we don't actually have for this unboxing. And no, it looks like all of the figures that are on the back here are going to be part of today's unboxing. All 5, 7, 9 And then there's one more that isn't featured on the back here. Actually, wait. How is that a thing? Oh yeah, we've got 12 figures. That makes sense. That makes sense, he says. Well, not actually knowing if it does. Doesn't matter. Let's open it up and see what we've got inside of here. I see what else we've got here. We have a visitor who also wants to play. Recurring fans of the stream will know my Nicoletta. Who's a good girl, but she always likes to come by when Daddy's trying to do unboxings, so say hi to her, chat. Inside of here, honestly, the backgrounds of these are just kind of disappointing. Really wish Hasbro did something, even if they gave us just like the Overwatch symbol in the background instead of just a plain orange back. But hey, we got what we got. Speaking of, we've got a secondary tray back here. Which looks like it has Mercy's wings. So let's get this tray off of here. Find out exactly what we've got. Oh! It's a stand. It's a flight stand. It's a flight stand for these two flying characters. Sure would be super cool if you guys could include a flight stand for the Marvel Legends. It also looks like we've got some thruster effects, which I'm going to guess are for Farah. Ah. So these kind of open. That makes sense. And the thruster effects kind of slide on into here. I didn't even notice that there's actually slots on these to tell you which way to put them in for these thrusters so that they're done properly. But apparently there are. There's also two closed fists here for Farah. Character I will be the first to admit I never play as, but usually get absolutely murdered by. An effect piece for Mercy and her healing staff. A secondary pistol for Mercy. An open hand and a closed fist for Mercy as well. let's get these figures fully together. As they've kind of come to us needing some light assembly. I don't have words for just how upset I am with Hasbro right now. Right at this very moment. Right now. Just how upset I am with them. My reasoning why, if any of you are wondering out there. Vamp, why in the world would you be upset? These are really neat. And you're right. They are really neat. Even as someone that isn't a huge Overwatch fan, but is a fan of 80s G.I. Joe. Because honestly, that's what these make me think of 100%, is 80s G.I. Joe. Why in the world would you be upset with something that's neat? I'll tell you why. Because so much more thought got put into these than has ever been put into a Marvel Legend. These have so much more thought, so much more engineering. Into a very new IP. That's why I'm upset. Because seeing these makes me know that Hasbro has the capability to do this really cool engineering. And they're just saying, nah, not for you guys. That's what makes me upset. Let's get into our articulation. For Mercy. She can look down really well. She can look up decently well. You'd think she can look up with more hope than that, but there's a bit of flash on the back of her neck that's keeping her from going any further back. For her shoulder articulation, we're getting a T-pose. I'll take it. No butterfly shoulders on her either. And, of course, she's still suffering from the Hasbro curse of females only been... Hasbro doesn't know how to give females double-jointed elbows. They just don't. It'd be nice if they learned, but they just don't. Because reasons, I suppose. She does have the in and out wrist articulation. Kind of seems like a weird decision, as, I'll be honest, her using the staff seems more like an up and down wrist articulation type of thing. She, of course, has the ab swivel, which can go side to side. Thus far, and only so far forward and so far back. And on a standard Marvel Legend, that'd be all the waist articulation you get. But on these guys, you also get the ab crunch to make her go so far forward. And actually, she can only pretty much go this far back in general. For her hip articulation, okay, that's odd. A little bit of fabric caught in her hip. That's weird. Her hips can go actually it's a pretty wide range of articulation there. She does, of course, have the thigh cuts. As far as her double jointed knees go, she can go a decent degree back. She's got a little bit too much molding here on the calf to go any further back with the knee. She does have the standard rocker ankles, which can go a decent degree in, an alright degree out. Can go a bit forward, but can go all the way on point back. Which, to be fair, I'd pretty much always just have her all the way on point back. I'm not entirely sure how their flight stand works. Is it a waist? It is a waist. And with as little off the ground as that goes, it's kind of a waste, if I'm being honest. It's barely off the ground at all. But all in all, still looks, yeah, pretty good. For our Farah, let's get into her articulation, because she's got some unique stuff from what I could already tell. Before I do, FYI, Mercy's wings are just ball joints, so they can go back and forth and pop out as you do that. They can also be turned. Not that you're really going to be turning them for any reason, but they can be. You're probably just going to have them out like that. Maybe in like that, but more likely than not. Because Mercy's always got that kind of extra look to her. We know what you're going for, Mercy. You're trying to look like an angel. We get it. And the least subtle superhero since actual angel. For Farah's neck articulation, she can look down alright. A lot of the articulations kind of nerfed because of her hair on the sides here. Can look a little bit back, but not a whole lot. This is pretty much all of your neck articulation. For our shoulder articulation, so her shoulder armor here is not a static piece like it would be on a Marvel Legend. It's actually on a unique ball peg for her upper biceps. Because of it, that's as far up as her arms are going. She's got a little bit too much sculpting there on her upper arms, on the biceps, for them to go much higher. But the armor pieces do move independently. Because, again, they are on ball joints, so those do actually move all on their lonesome. She's got biceps... She's got bicep swivels. Hasbro, you figured out how to give bicep swivels to a female figure, finally. And you gave them to Farah. I'm getting real mad at you, Hasbro. She only has the single jointed elbows. And the standard in and out wrist articulation. None of them seem to have a sword cut. I don't know if we're going to see a sword cut on anybody today. For our ab swivel, she's got a little bit of range to the left and a slight amount of range to the right. Actually, pretty decent amount of range forward. And an alright backward amount of range. She also, has that ab crunch. So she can also go that far forward with just the ab crunch. And that far back. For our hip articulation, that's all that we're getting. She's got too much armor up here on the thighs to go any further. She does have the thigh cuts here. She does have double jointed knees, but I don't know just how flexible those are going to be. Actually, it's a lot better than I was expecting. It's not great. She's got a little bit too much armor here to go back any further, but it's better than what we got with Lucio. For our ankle articulation, she's got the standard rocker ankle, because it can go a painful degree in, a disturbing degree out. Just a little bit forward. Sorry, she's a little back heavy because of the thrusters, so it's kind of leaning over on me. They can only go a little bit forward, but can go all the way on point back. For those thrusters, speaking of, they're also on ball joints, so you can kind of position them however. And as we saw when I was putting them with the thruster effects together, you can additionally spread those as you will to make her look straight up like a Gundam and really give her that extra push forward. I'll be honest with you guys, these figures, they make me upset. Not because they're not good, because they show just how much Hasbro is capable of if they think there's money in it. And they clearly don't think there's money in Marvel. Not as much as they thought there was money in Overwatch. So that you guys know what the scale's looking like. Farrah is coming in at, I mean, just under 6 inches. I mean, just a hair under 6. And Mercy here. Between the heels and the ponytail, the tip of the ponytail makes her come in at just under 6.5 inches. If we're going from the top of the head, she's just over 6 inches. Again, I found this set of figures for $5. $5 for 2. And the engineering on these, especially compared to Marvel Legends, is mind-blowing. Especially compared to Marvel Legends. It is mind-blowing. If you all find this set out there for $5 and you don't buy it, I don't know what to tell you. This is a fun set of figures. It's great. They have so much care in everything they've got going on with these. Again, it's upsetting to me as a Marvel Legends collector how much care is put into these. Because I see where their priorities are, and they're not with my fandom. They're not at all with my fandom. Not even a little bit. Double jointed elbows would have made these go... They would have been out of the ballpark. For $5 for this set, I can't keep on using the qualifier of $5, because maybe y'all can't find it for that price. Which, I wouldn't expect anyone else to be able to do that. It was pure luck. Again, it was labeled as being $25. It wasn't until I scanned it and rang it up that it said, no, it's $5. I'd heard online that they were going for 10 and was very pleasantly surprised. If I'm going to give a rating to the pharmacy combo, there are 7. There are 7. They come with a flight stand. They come with effect pieces. They're fun designs. There are 7. And that's without qualifying them based on their price. Just based on the figures themselves, there are 7. Unbelievable. Hasbro, if you would start caring about all of your fandoms like this, you'd have some really, really happy campers. I'll be the first to tell you. Start giving everybody this type of care, because this is safe. This is insane. This is crazy. Moving on. Our next set of figures. Well, you'll even be able to see where I got these from. Our next set is Soldier 76 and Ava. As you can clearly tell, I don't know what this extra box area is for, but it came from Goodwill. This set of figures came from Goodwill. Brand new, still in the box, from a resale shop. It says $10 on here. I paid half of that. I paid $5. So all I'm gonna say to that is I paid $5 for the 2-pack of this, which means that there are 2, 4, 6, 7 figures that were a total of $25. Just throwing that out there. If anyone's curious why I suddenly decided, Vamp, why'd you suddenly decide to get into Overwatch figures? Well, I got over half a team for the price of one figure. And that's not getting into the others yet. We'll get into them in a minute. In the meantime, let's look into what we've got here. So, we've of course got that window pane front. We've got our artistic renditions of Soldier 76 and Ana here on the side, along with all of the figures. Again, I'm pretty sure we've got all of these figures on the back here as part of our review today. Little bits and pieces about all of our characters here, Soldier and Ana, respectively. Inside of here, if we can open it up without it deciding to go rogue on me. If it went any more rogue, it'd be Soldier 76. Am I right? Anyway. Inside of here, we got some cool stuff. We've got our effect piece, which, I'm not going to lie to you guys, 50-50 that these effect pieces are even going to stay with their actual characters unless they are very character specific. Namely, these rockets are very specific to Soldier 76. Otherwise, there's a 50-50 chance that a lot of these effect pieces are going to go to my Marvel Legends collection. And we've got two fist hands here for Soldier 76. Why you wouldn't pose him with his gun instead is beyond me. Because again, we've got that neat little effect. We've got two open hands here for Anna. And for her long-range sniper rifle / medicine gun. We've got its own effect piece. No effect piece for her smaller gun, but that's a-okay. Ah. Standard Hasbro. Soldier 76 here has a gun in a hip holster, but of course it's something that can't be removed. I'd be surprised with any other company. I'm not even a little bit surprised here. So, for Anna, her hood, I believe, is removable. I think, as it's moving around a lot with her head here. Let's try popping off. I don't know if these heads are removable. Before I go popping off any heads, that'd be something I should probably find out. So, for Anna, she can look down a decent way and can look up a fair degree as well. For her shoulder articulation, we got a T-pose out of her. We got a T-pose. I'll take it. It's a lot better than our single-jointed elbows. Standard Hasbro fare. Our standard in and out wrist articulation. For our multiple points of ab articulation here, we do have the ab swivel, which gives us a slight degree left and right, a small degree of front and back. Then with our ab crunch, we get a far greater degree of forward ab articulation. And a pretty fair degree backward. Again, Hasbro, you want to know why I'm mad at y'all right now? It's because that kind of technology, that kind of articulation engineering could really be useful for your Marvel Legends. And you guys are just screwing us. For our hip articulation, I think that's the best we've seen today, and it's the best I've seen in a very long time. She can go almost completely horizontal with her hips. That's insane. We do have the thigh cuts here. We have the double jointed knees, which can go just a little bit above 90 degrees back. If I'm being honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with that, as I'm probably going to have Anna in a kneeling position at most times, so that she can be kneeling to fire out her sniper rifle from an elevated position in the obvious battle scene I'm going to have to make with these 12 figures. We do also have the rocker ankles, which can go an absolutely disturbing degree in an incredibly painful degree out, a decent amount forward, and all the way on point back. Honestly, Anna on her own is a pretty solid figure. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in this figure. Not in the least. It's good. It's fun. It's unique. You guys know about the YouTube channel, right? It's over there. Well, I mean, that's of course the Twitch. But if you're looking through as our socials are going through, you're of course going to find the Twitter as well, where you could have found out this wasn't going to be a normal Marvel Legends stream, but an Overwatch stream. And that right there, that's the YouTube channel. Why don't you give us a follow? We got a bunch of stuff up there already. Pretty fun, and it's usually uploaded after my amazing editor / wife edits it, memes it up, makes fun of me, because low-hanging fruit, I'm easy to make fun of. It's fun. It's a fun channel. You guys should come on over, see what it's like. Moving on to 76 here. Ooh, that is a tight neck. Do you even have a neck joint there, bro? I see that you've got the disc in there, but man, that is the tightest neck joint I've ever encountered. I'm not going to try and do that too much, because that's going to end up real bad for me. As it stands, I've got next to no neck articulation. I'm going to have to do the hairdryer trick or the boiling water trick on that. We do have something else, though, I can already see in here. We've got butterfly shoulders. We've got butterfly shoulders here. I mean, Hasbro, you can give us all new molds for this all new IP with butterfly shoulders and a combination of ab crunch and ab swivel, and you can't give us jack all for Marvel Legends. Come on. For our shoulder articulation, though, that's as far up as we're going. We can't even T-pose to assert dominance. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen here. He's got too much armor padding up here on the shoulders to go up any further. We do have, of course, the bicep swivels. We've got the double-jointed elbows. That's close enough. That's close enough for me to call it. Even though he can't get his arm all the way up to be doing it, ladies and gentlemen, you love it, I love it, we've got it. That good flex. Bam. From Soldier 76. We, of course, also have the standard in and out wrist articulation. For our abs, because we've got all kinds of ab articulation on these guys. We've got the ab swivel here, which goes a little bit side to side. A little bit forward, an alright degree back. Then we've got our ab crunch, which goes a far greater degree forward and a far greater degree back. And of course, these things can be combined to give us even greater ranges of movement. No comment. For our hip articulation, so on this hip, pretty decent. This hip, it's being impeded way too much by our holster and our non-removable weapon. So that's as far as we're getting as far as his range of movement. He does have the thigh cuts. We've got the double-jointed knees. Ooh. There's a little bit too much flashback here to really get him to go any further. It's actually flash on the inside molding of the knee. It's not even because of the bagginess of the pants. It's the inside molding on the knee. If you look in there, keeping them from going any further back. No boot cuts or anything like that, but we do have the rocker ankles, which can go a pretty decent degree in, a pretty painful degree out. Not as far as Anna's, but pretty decent. He can go... That's it. That's as far forward as his feet go. It's pretty much just flat. But he can go almost all the way on point back. All in all, I'll be honest with you guys. Is it the best set? Well, we just had that pharmacy combo. That was a pretty grand set. So, can't really say this did better than that. As far as Soldier 76's height goes, he's coming in just under 6.5 inches. As far as Anna's height goes, she's coming in at just under 6 inches. Actually, right at about 5 3/4 of an inch. As far as this pack goes, is it the greatest pack? No, that pharmacy pack was amazing. It was really good. Is this pack the worst? No. No, definitely no. It's still a fun 2-pack. If you're a fan of Soldier 76, it's also the only way a figure of him. If you're a fan of Anna, who is actually a pretty fun support sniper, and one of the few support classes that they made in action figure form, as for the majority of them, they're almost entirely, I mean almost entirely all damage. Again, his other hand here is going to need some boiling water on it to open it up a bit so I can really get that pose just right for that look. Which, to be fair, is a really fun look. And it's a really fun look. If I'm being honest, I'm glad I got the set on clearance the way I did. It's the closest thing I've had to a dud today. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4. Soldier 76 here, his ab swivel is just so loose. He's just flopping back and forth. His left hand here is so tight, it feels like it's going to snap before it bends. His head couldn't move at all for me. Anna can't get her arms right because she doesn't have double-jointed elbows, which you kind of need as a sniper, especially one with a stock this tiny. Look at how tiny that stock is. You want that against your shoulder, it's not really going to happen. It's a 4. I'm not going to say they should go to the bin, but they're not the best set we've had today. They're a little bit weak, if I'm being honest. But we've had some really strong figures that we've seen today, so take that as you will. Alright. So, our remaining 5 figures. So, we already mentioned where most of the figures came from. It was a combination of Ross for one of them, for the first one, for Junkrat. 4 of them came from Walmart. And those 2 came from Goodwill, but they also had on their box when I first got it, they had a price tag for Target on clearance, where they are still on clearance at this time. So, make of that what you will. These next ones I all got from one place. It's GameStop. Now, I got all of them on clearance, and because they were being super cool to me, and they're like, hey, you're getting this clearance out of here anyway. I did their $5 bag thing, where you buy a bag for $5 and you get 20% off any collectibles you put in it. They gave me 20% off for all of them. So, yeah, that was cool. Even though I think it's not supposed to work on clearance, so don't go in there saying, well, Vamp told me. Don't go in there saying that. I don't even know if they'll still have the 20. I don't even know if they still have it today, because I've been getting them for the past couple weeks. That being said, maybe they'll be cool about it the way mine was. I can't guarantee anything. For our next set of figures, we've got Hanzo and Genji. Now, like I said, I got this 2-pack at GameStop on clearance. It even gave me the 20% off, so let's see what it looks like, shall we? So, for our Hanzo Genji pack, we've got that pseudo window pane, we've got our animated versions of our two characters, we've got our blurbs about Hanzo and Genji, respectively, along with all of the rest of their stats, the other figures that are all available. Now, I will admit to you guys, there are a total. We do not have this 2-pack here today, nor do we have either of these two characters. We do not have Zarya, and we definitely don't have McCree. McCree, I kind of wish we did, but I'll be honest, I got the 12 to make 2 teams of 6-on-6, so I'm fine. I'm good. We're done here. Let's open it up and see what we've got inside. So, inside of here, amazingly, we've got Hanzo and we've got Genji. Who would have ever thought? So we've got Hanzo's double dragons, although, if I'm being honest, that's kind of weak for something that normally fills the battlefield. An arrow. Hanzo's very cybernetic looking bow. His quiver, where actually you can even put said arrow. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Doesn't quite go all the way down like it should. Maybe it doesn't, it's just stupid long. We've also got 2 extra hands, including, and this throws me for a loop, y'all. This hand of Hanzo's is actually to pull back the bowstring that isn't even on this bow. However, because there's a slot in his bow for the arrow, leading to further my collection of archers that I have in toy form, that means that you can slot the arrow into his fingers for him to actually pull it back and keep it mostly in place, which is pure craziness. We also have the throwing hand of throwing stars here for Genji. If the hand looks familiar, it looks fairly familiar to me too. That's the same kind of hand that we've seen for both Bullseye and for Ronin. Recently, for their various Marvel Legends. We also have an additional hand for Genji doing the point. Am I ever going to use that? Probably not, since I've got both a katana and a tanto for Genji. So, and we've got this extra hand here, so I don't even know how all I'm going to display him. Because we've got his katana here with a sheath. His tanto here with a sheath. And the throwing star hand. He's got more accessories than I can even display him with. So, let's get into our articulation, shall we? We'll start off with Genji. Actually, we'll take off his accessories first. Then we'll start off with the articulation. So, Genji can look down a decent degree. And can look up only so far. Honestly, the molding on the back of his neck here, if you all can see that, gets in the way of him going any further back than that. Doesn't really look back too well. We do have butterfly shoulders for him as well, which seems like for every new mold, which Hasbro can give us as many new molds as we have new characters here for Overwatch, but can't do that for our Marvel Legends. It seems like for the majority of the men, they have butterfly shoulders. I don't believe any of our female figures do, but I believe every male figure has butterfly shoulders. Something that is a rare treat with Marvel Legends. For our shoulder articulation, though, alright, we're getting a T-pose out of him. We're getting a T-pose. That's something. He does have the bicep swivels. His biceps aren't swiveling that independently of his shoulders at the moment. But he does have the bicep swivels. For our double-jointed elbows, oof, Genji. Do you have double-jointed elbows? Because, let me tell you there, buddy. That ain't it. That's barely 90 degrees. We do have the sword cut for his left hand. His right hand has the standard in and out wrist cut, as does his throwing hand. And let's take a look at his extra hand here. Yeah, it's a standard in and out as well. So far, he's the only figure we've seen with one wrist cut, and I believe that's just to make it so that it looks like he's pulling out his katana from his back. For our ab articulation, he's got that ab swivel, which is going a great degree forward and back. I mean, look at this. That's huge. A slight degree forward, and alright degree back. Then we've got the ab crunch, which is going a decent degree forward, and an alright degree back. You put them all together, he's bending over backwards for you, ladies. Or fellas, I ain't judging. He's bending over forwards too, and he's just making me realize that Hasbro really does not care about their Marvel fans. For our hip articulation, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. We also have the thigh cuts, of course. For our double jointed knees, Genji, my man. He's got too much molding here with these little nubs on the back of his calves here to make it so he can't go any further back than that. That's barely 90 degrees. Genji, you're supposed to be this master ninja, and man, you're not even getting out of physical therapy after a knee replacement with that kind of range. You gotta do some stretches, man. He's got the rocker ankles, but that's all we're really getting out of him, is that tiny degree each way. He's got some flash here at his ankle to make it so he can't go any further. He can go a decent degree forward and can go almost all the way back on point. Which, I mean, all in all, it's not the worst articulation I've ever seen. Yeah, exactly like I thought. That sword cut is really and truly just to make it so that you can have his hand ready to pull that katana. It would be helpful if he had the same kind of thing for the Tonto here. Instead of that standard wrist articulation. But at least he's got kind of an interesting look going to him where he looks as though he's going to pull both at the same time because he can get his hands on each at the same time and just mess up your day. Especially since he's got that ab swivel here. It really makes that kind of movement possible. Makes him get into some proper stance. No comment. Let's get into our articulation on Hanzo before we comment on how much more Hasbro put into these figures than they do their outpouring of Marvel Legends. So, again, we see that Hanzo here has butterfly shoulders, something that's pretty much necessary for any archer. Along with double jointed elbows, which I'm only seeing a single joint on his right hand. Might make it a little bit more difficult for him to pull back the bowstring, but we shall see what we shall see. For our neck articulation, we're looking down a decent degree, looking up a fair degree. We've got the butterfly shoulders, as mentioned before. That's as far up as his shoulders going on either way, or on either side, rather. I'm not sure why this one's not going up any further. It really looks like it should be able to. Oh, and it does. It just took a little bit of doing. He can get just about a T-pose. We've got a little bit too much fabric here to really get that T-pose out of him. It looks like, though, he's got a very unique type of... I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not sure if he's got an arm piece inside of here, or if that's just a secondary, like, ball joint up there. It seems like this is just a slip covering a very thin arm piece for that single jointed elbow. He does have a double jointed elbow on his left arm. Well, it might not be perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, he still has it. He's got that good flex. Not as much as some of our others do today. But he's still got it. Additionally, we do see he's got the bicep swivel on this arm. If we can get his bicep to swivel on its lonesome without the shoulder, it'd be even better. He, as has been already stated before, has the standard in and out wrist articulation. For his abs, he only has an ab swivel. And it's not up here in the chest, it's at the base. So, we've got actually a fair degree of side-to-side movement. Well, one of his sides. The other side's less so. You can go so far forward and so far back. Probably gives him the worst articulation today. For his hip articulation, that's it. His top here is just keeping him from going any further out without starting to tear at the soft goods fabric there. He does have thigh cuts. He's got double jointed knees, but I think we're gonna quickly see that his double jointed knees might as well be single jointed. Unless, of course, I'm 100% wrong, which it appears that I am 100% wrong. Yeah. Coming on here to my stream, showing me up.
You come into my house? You come into my house? How dare you?
Even with all of this extra molding here, he has better knee articulation than Genji. How is that a thing? How do his knees have better articulation than Genji's? You can see how much extra plastic there is here. No comment. No comment at all. That's just weird. He also has the standard rocker ankles, which can go an incredibly disturbing degree in, a painful degree out. Can go... Look at that! That is the furthest I've ever seen one of their ankle joints go forward. That's disturbing and painful, and I love it. And can go almost all the way on point back. As far as our height goes, Hanzo here is coming in from the top of his top knot at just over 6 inches. If we're going to the top of the head, he's at just about 6 inches. The top knot adds in just a little bit of extra oomph to him. And for Genji, he's coming in just under 6 inches. We're right at about 5 3/4. Oh, that's good. This is a little more sense. We're not 5 I think this one, 15 hours. We're trying to 40 hours. Okay, great. But is it as worth it? Obviously not. That's each. That's all we need to know. Just $5 piece. Oh, sometimes worth it. $5. So it's the price. And some things are just weird. Some choices were made. Just these are the heads. No, I don't like them. These are princess. Awesome.
If you like Marcy so much, why don't you just marry her?
I'm trying to figure out how to put his dragons on him. When you put him on his hand front, so we can off his hand, and so I'm trying to put that bow back on. There's a powerful hand with the bow. Just you gotta see that we're doing here. I'm setting up Hanzo. Just bow and arrow. I said 4. That's yeah. The fact is one hand. The fact is right arm isn't double elbow. That's all foot. His ability to pose like this. But with a little bit of work, you can kind of get it. You can kind of get it to where it works. Of course, I'll need to do some posing with his legs as well before we take the picture, but you can kind of get it. I do wish that the dragons were a little bit bigger. Again, in the game when he shoots off this power, it's huge. It takes up a substantial portion of the screen. Here it's just kind of, it's here. Yeah, that's the power. Nah, man. That's barely doing anything at all. If I'm being honest with you guys, is the set worth it? Yeah. If you're a big fan of Genji or Hanzo, it's the only way to get 2 figures. Otherwise, you know what? Just like Ana and Soldier 76, I'm giving this set a 4. It's not the worst, but it's far from the best. It's just kind of... It's there. It's a set of figures. They're interesting. But, honestly... again, there's some things that I really do wish they could have changed up. Namely, in Hanzo's articulation with his arm, and in Genji's articulation with his legs. Even with Genji's left hand, making that into a sword cut would have gone a great deal. And this effect piece being kind of weak. It's kind of weak. It's kind of weak. Compared to the effect pieces we've gotten with everyone else, it's kind of weak. For our next figure, we're going with the whole reason why we've got the title today. Cheers, love.
The
Cavalry's here. We've got Tracer. She's one of those faces for Overwatch that everybody knows. So, let's get into what we've got here. We've, of course, got that pseudo window pane front, our animated version of Tracer here on the side, our information about Tracer all over the back here, different figures in the wave. Inside, wow! That is the weakest of any character that we've seen today. That is the absolute weakest we've seen. That is the only time I've opened up a character and said, where's the rest of her? Well, we've got our effect pieces here for our two pistols here. We've got Tracer herself, an open hand, her two-finger pointing hand. I know that's used in one of her victory poses. And that's it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's pretty weak. For everything else that we've seen today, and all of our other unboxings, that is by and far the weakest outing of anyone. Which is sad because for a lot of people, when they think of Overwatch, they think of Tracer. She's pretty much the character you see. Actually, she is the character you see on the front. She's your cover character. She's the character most associated with the game, and man, opening the box was a disappointment. Let's get into the articulation and hope there's better stuff to come with that, because I don't think that there's anything to do with her back pieces here. This comes off. But it also doesn't look right without it being on her, so what have you. So, she's got an alright amount of downward neck articulation. That's as far as she's looking up. She's got too much molding here on her jacket by having her popped collar to go any further up. For her arm articulation, she's barely getting to a T-pose, and that's taken a great deal of effort to make it go even that far up. She's got the single-jointed elbows, which can go, as per usual with Hasbro, the maximum 90 degrees. The standard in and out wrist cuts for both of her hands. Her hands seem a little bit oversized to the rest of her, if I'm being dead honest. I'm really glad I did not pay full price for this figure, because as of thus far, I'm genuinely disappointed. putting her hands in very quickly. Her guns in her hands. There we are. For our waist articulation, she's got the abs swivel. That's as far back and forth as she's going with it. That's as far forward, and that's as far back. She's got a little bit too much molding here from her chest piece to go any further back or forward. She does have the ab crunch, though, which lets her go, I can speak today, I swear, an alright degree forward and a decent degree back. It's not a wonderful range of articulation, but it's something. For her hip articulation, straight horizontal. She can go straight horizontal with her hips. She can do a full-on split. Y'all, I don't remember the last time I saw a Hasbro Marvel Legend do a complete split. I don't think I've ever seen it. Hasbro, look at me. Look me in the eye. Look me in the eye, Hasbro. This kind of engineering, bring it to your other properties. Bring it to your other properties. We do, of course, have the thigh cuts. In case you guys didn't know, this isn't just painted on here. This is actually molded on here, the side of her, the leggings one-piece uniform here. She's got the double-jointed knees. And one joint's deciding to work, the other one not so much. There we go. If you can get them both to work, they can actually go all the way back. So, there you go with that. She's also got... She's got the rocker ankle. She's just got a very weird set of shoes on to kind of hide that. She can only go so far in and so far out because of the high top sides of the shoes here. She can only go that far forward with her ankles and that far back. As far as her height goes, she's tiny. She's coming in at right about 5.5 inches. She's a tiny one. I'm gonna level with you guys. I don't like the figure. Which is saying something. You would think, again, Tracer is the character on the box when you pick up a copy of Overwatch. She's literally the character on the tin. She's disappointing. Her articulation is nerfed at best. She's got, comparatively, we've seen Junkrat, our first review of the day, who came with the mine, the tire, the effect piece, the grenade launcher, 2 extra hands, one of which had a detonator in it. We saw Lucio, who came with the sound gun, who came with his 2 big effect pieces for the inline skates, and 2 extra hands. She's got some extra hands, but they're so-so. And then she's just got these little effect pieces for her blasters. And that's it. Honestly, thanks for the effect pieces. These are going to be better used in my Marvel Legends figures, because you're not going to get to keep them. If you're a big fan of Tracer, go on ahead, I suppose, if you can find her on sale. That being said, I'm not going out of my way to get this figure. color me disappointed. She's not doing anything to wow me. If I'm gonna be honest with you guys, she's a 3. She's a 3. She's one of the few that gets the honor of being put in the bin. Put her in the bin, close it up. That was junk. Compared to the other amazing things that we've seen in figure engineering today, the one who is the main face of Overwatch was the worst figure that we've seen today thus far. Let's see if we can top it. Our next figure is actually my main for Overwatch. The few times I've played, and as I said at the start of the stream, I don't really play much Overwatch, like at all. I main 2 people. I main Mei, because Mei is Bae, but they didn't make a Mei figure. And I main Reaper. This isn't even the good version of Reaper. Honestly, he looks more like Shipwreck from G.I. Joe than he does Reaper. But I'll still take him. Let's see what we've got here. So, we've got that pseudo window pane front with our artistic rendering of Reaper on the back. We've got Mr. Reyes and all of his details on the back here, along with our figures in the wave. If we open them up, now, you see, this is why I was disappointed with Tracer's outing. Look at how much space is taken up in Tracers versus how much space is taken up in Reapers. Now, mind you, they come with the exact same pieces. They come with 2 effect pieces, 2 weapons, 2 hands. He just fills out his space so much more than she does. Look at that. Everything of her fits over just his body and 1 gun and effect pieces. If y'all want to know why I was disappointed, that's why. So we've got Reaper's twin shotguns. We've got his shotgun blasts. We've got Reaper himself. I'll be honest with you guys. As far as his costume goes, I am wholeheartedly disappointed. This is the costume they chose for my main. A guy that's known for wearing a black trench coat with a death mask is a dude in a skull cap with the kind of beard I'm usually rocking. Alright. I'll be honest, I'm never going to use these other 2 hands because he's got 2 shotguns. You better believe he's going to be holding his 2 shotguns with effect pieces so that he looks like he's blasting someone from here to Timbuktu. Let's get into our articulation on him. We've got some decent downward neck articulation and an alright amount of backward neck articulation. For our shoulders, we do have the butterfly shoulders on him. Something that Tracer really could have benefited from was a set of butterfly shoulders. But we've got him at least for Reaper. For our shoulder articulation, that's as far up as we're going. We're not even getting a full-on T-pose out of him. The armor pieces he has on the shoulders are just a little bit too high up for that to actually go all the way. He does have the bicep swivels, as you can see here. Since, again, his shoulder wasn't letting me really swivel it on its lonesome. For his double-jointed elbows. Something else that really could have benefited Tracer there. Ah. Reaper. Reaper. My man. You're so close to having that good flex. It's so close. No, no, no. I don't want to see it. Don't show it. No. Get it out of here. I don't want to see that good flex. He doesn't have it. It's just not going. What he does have is cartoonishly big hands. Like, straight up cartoonishly big. Especially for this outfit. I mean, I know this is supposed to be his prior to the fall outfit. Look, man. There's no Reaper that you've got that isn't going to be full of just darkness and hate. I don't care what you make the outfit look like. He's still going to have a very not advertiser-friendly catchphrase as he does his ult in the game. So, yeah, no. No, don't give me that. He does have the ab swivel, which can go a little bit side to side, a little bit forward, and a tiny bit back. Not a whole lot. For his ab crunch, he can go significantly farther forward and back than he can with the ab swivel. Not as much as I was really expecting him to. Honestly, expecting a little bit more out of him than that. For his hip articulation, that's not bad. It's not as good as Tracer's, but it's not bad. That is one thing Tracer had, was pretty great hips. He does have the thigh cuts. For his double jointed knees, they can go back a decent way. My boy's got a little bit too thick calves here to go any further back. It's going just over the 90 degrees. It's not going all the way back because he just has too much calf meat here, and a little bit of flash on the back of his calves there to make it so he just can't go all the way back. He does have the rocker ankles. Not that they're really doing anything at all for him. No. That's it. More so, you can move him side to side than any other direction. You can go a little bit forward and can go all the way on point back. For my man's height, he's coming in just over 6 inches. I mean just over. Like a hair over 6 inches. All in all, what do I think of my main? The only figure of pretty much any character. I know that I play some Sombra, but I don't play that much Sombra. I play mostly Reaper. I know that other companies have done Reaper figures. However, I don't play enough Overwatch for me to warrant paying $80 for no Reaper figure. That ain't happening. And it's of a standard costume, too. The costume I would much prefer. Now, question of the day, can he even, if I took off his effect pieces, can he even do the old cross arms?
If you like Mercy so much, why don't you just marry her?
He came so close. He came oh so close. But, unfortunately, nah. He cannot give the old cross arms with the guns. Not quite. Well, that's unfortunate. At the very least,
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Gonna throw your guns at me over that? At the very least, at least because he's got the butterfly shoulders, we can have him doing his ult. Where he's got his 2 shotguns out to the side, spins around with them. Which I normally am the first one to do by teleporting to the point, going behind the point ever so slightly, coming out just a hair, and then unleashing that. It's usually how I get play the game. Strategic warping, followed by just shooting everything. At least we can get him to get with the butterfly shoulders. At least we can get him to have his arms all the way out to do the ult. Is he a great figure? No. Is he a bad figure? It's not good. He's definitely not the rendition of Reaper that I was hoping for. And apparently his top's a little bit loose too, based on how much he's wobbling on me here. If I had to give him a ranking, he's a 4. He's a 4. He could have had another effect piece, possibly the little smokiness around his feet for when he teleports. That'd be cool. He could have been in his normal look, not this throwback DLC version. He's not the worst. He's better than Tracer was, but not by much. Not by much. He could have been better. He could have definitely been better. Alright. That puts us almost completely through with all of our Overwatch figures for the day. We've only got one more. But I think you guys are going to really like this one. Our last figure of the day is our big boy. It's Reinhardt. Reinhardt is a huge figure. I gotta put it sideways just to get everything on here. Take it like this. Our worst figure of the day looks like this compared to the box that we've got right here. That's Reinhardt compared to Tracer. It's huge. It's huge. Let's get into what we've got. We've got our window pane front. We've got our animation, our animated rendition of him on the side. We've got all of our stats of our Reinhardt Wilhelm on the back. Cue the Wilhelm scream. Along with some of the other figures that we have seen today. On the inside, alright. Wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting any of that. So, we've got an energy shield. Straight up looks like a dinner tray. We've got an energy shield here for Reinhardt. We've got a rather colossal hammer. And this thing's got a weight to it, too. Trying to figure out what these pieces are. I believe these are supports for that massive shield. Speaking of, it's another piece for our shield there. Yep. And I'm gonna guess these... Yep, these attach just by kind of slipping in. To make it so that Reinhardt's shield can stand up on its own. He's such a massive dude that they had to tie him in here with what looks to be like a twine. As I said at the top of the stream, guys, I did not pay full price for any of these. Check your local Rosses, check your local Walmarts, check your local GameStops, check your local Targets. Reinhardt here is supposed to be a $50 figure. I got him for about 20 bucks. I got this massive dude with this massive shield for the asking price of Tracer. Which is alright, I didn't want another Tracer, because I'm already Tracer. There's a dead meme for you.
I wanna be Bastion! Nerf Bastion!
Guys! I didn't think, speaking of dead memes, I've got my own here. I did not think that I'd be saying it today, but ladies and gentlemen, Reinhardt is, say it with me kids, a big, beefy boy. This is a substantial figure. Holy hell. He a big boy. This is quite the figure. I'm not just talking about his dinner tray. Just him alone. Outside of the packaging. That's him compared to Tracer. Whew. He's a big fella. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm really excited about this figure. There's a reason I saved him till last. And honestly, it's because if I could find more of these figures, if I could find more of Reinhardt's for hopefully the same price or less than what I found this one for, because I heard that Reinhardt was available. Look at that. He's even got a little armor flap here that's articulated. If I could find more of this figure, preferably, I heard that Ross had him for $5. Maybe $10. If I could find more of this figure for $5 or $10, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'd like to get like 4 of them. Now, why? I know what you're thinking to yourselves. Vamp, why would you do that? You don't want seconds of any of these figures. Why would you want 4 of Reinhardt? I'll tell you why. Looking at this figure, he is... 1, he's super cool looking. 2, he's generic looking enough. I could see army building Reinhardt's and using this figure in toy photography as just a whole mess of big old knights going against a small... I could put a bunch of these against... I've got a couple Legend of Zelda figures. Him against them, I could actually see as being a thing. Keep away the bubble shield here. Just have him either with the big hammers or some other large medieval weapons. Like I've... as though I'm in short notice for large medieval weapons in 1/12 scale. I've got plenty. I'd happily army build this guy. Put him with the Ares build figure that I've got from the Wonder Woman wave of DC figures. I could see these being minions of Ares. He just looks fun. He looks cool, and he looks just generic enough in the full knight costume that if I wanted to, I could repaint it and make him just be that, a generic knight. But let's get into our articulation first. See if he'd be worth it. For our neck articulation. Yup, did you see it move? Nope. Did you blink? Huh, me too. That's as far back as his head goes, and that's as far forward. That's it. That's all of our neck articulation on him. That's all we're getting. We're getting some side-to-side looks, but that's barely. Our shoulder articulation, he's got his armor here actually hinged on his biceps, which can go into a full-on T-pose. Alright. He does have bicep swivels, but only single-jointed elbows, so that's as far as you're getting that elbow to go. He does have wrist articulation, but it's just the in and out. And if I'm being honest, look at the weird bumps it creates when you move his wrists, either way. Get a weird bump on the back when you move it in, get a weird bump on the front when you move it out. You might want to get that looked at, buddy. He's got only the ab swivel, which he's going just the side to side like that, and his front and back movement is almost non-existent. I mean, that's it. If you see that minor crunch, that's it. Again, he's got that little flap, which is neat. For his hip articulation, ooh, that's it. He's got too much molding here and here, which is preventing his hips from going any further out. He's got thigh cuts, but that's as far as they're going, either way. He's got the double jointed knees, allegedly. But that's all that we're getting out of him range-wise. It's just that barely 90 degrees. And I mean barely. When we do, it makes for this really horrid-looking cut on the front. For our ankle articulation, he actually has the rocker ankles that go a decent degree in and alright degree out. It doesn't really go forward, and that's as far back as he's going. And we can see he's got a peg there on his arm, so that, let's bend his elbow here. So we can pose him with that bubble shield. Which has a peg that goes right onto his arm. Might need to even a little bit down there. Bend the knees just a hair to get it really sitting flat. That's a pretty impressive looking shield rush right there. Because we know one of Reinhardt's big moves is that that shield rush. It's gonna wreck your day. Yo, dog, I heard you wanted your match absolutely wrecked. So, you know, shield rush time it is. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Articulation-wise, he's a little bit nerfed. Fun-wise, I mean, look at it. Look at it. Of course it's fun. It's a ton of fun. I mean, it's a huge knight with a bubble shield and a giant hammer. He's 2 steps away from being an EDF character. And I love it. Maybe that's why I love him so much, is because I'm a big fan of EDF. Before we give a rating on him, let's find out just how tall our big beefy boy here is. He's a big fella. Yeah, I didn't doubt that at all. There's your build-to-figure of the wave, for those of you that are used to coming in here and seeing those. Because, yeah, he's clocking in... Where are we? I'm not even seeing the range here. We're clocking in at about 8 inches tall. About 8 inches. I expected him to be a little bit bigger, if I'm being honest. But about 8 inches is not horrendous. Is he an awesome figure? Yeah. Yeah, he's actually probably the most fun I'm going to have with any of these. Is he a great figure? Well... if you're going to be paying the full price for him, $50, no. If you're going to be paying the scalper price for him, scalpers right now are going for $75 for this character. I know, because I wanted to see if I could find it cheaper on Amazon to return it to GameStop and get the one from Amazon instead. Yeah, nah. No, they're charging like $60-75 too. I got this figure for $20. $20. For $20, this is an amazing figure. For $50, well, that's a different story you got there. For $50, I'm not feeling it. All in all, how do we feel about him? Well, he's cool. But his articulation is definitely limited. It's definitely limited. It's painfully limited. It is really painfully limited. I almost wanted to give him an 8. 1 to match his height, 2 because of just how much fun the character is, but with the nerfed articulation, he's a 7. Even that seems a little bit high. He's a 6.5. He's a 6.5. Honestly, he's a 6.5. He's fun. Don't get me wrong. He's a really fun figure. Is he worth $50? Oh, God, no. Is he worth $75? Oh, hell no. Is he worth $20? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. For $20, yeah, I'd like to get a couple more of them. Just so that I can put them into different settings for different photography as an army of just giant mech knights. Tell me that's not fun to say. So, all in all, we've had 12 figures today that we've gone over. We've had some pretty terrible figures that we've seen over here. We've had some pretty amazing figures that we've seen. We've had some mediocre figures at best. All in all, if you're a fan of Overwatch, there's a 50-50 chance you already have these figures. If you're not a fan of Overwatch, like me, and you're just a fan of 80s G.I. Joes and the weird rogues gallery of figures that we got back in the day with those toy lines. If you're just a fan of weird, cool-looking toys, and you want something fun to take toy photography of, so honestly, that's what these are going to be the most fun with. Taking pictures of them. They're going to be the most fun I'm going to have with these, is setting them up and taking some fun pics. Is that everybody? Can we get everybody on screen all at once? Because, man, that's the biggest review we've had in quite some time on this channel. And we didn't even need to put together a build-to-figure. It was still a huge review. But look at the squads that we've got. It's a pretty big squad. If you've been on the fence about getting the Overwatch figures that we've reviewed today, if you're a fan of Overwatch, now's the time to get them. Most of these figure sets here were $5. $5. $5. $5. $5. Come on. $5. We're talking 2, 4, 6, 7 figures at $5. Mind you, 2 of them were 2 sets. So that's $25 for 7 figures. That's an amazing deal. I know that they're clearancing them out because, I don't know, maybe Hasbro didn't make the money they were anticipating from it, or something or another, but if you were on the fence with these figures, now is the time to get them. Again, over half the figures here only cost us $25. These two of my least favorite figures today, were like $13 each, and that's it. The Genji Hanzo 2-pack, mind you, these two, and Reinhardt, all 5 of these all came from GameStop. These 2 were like $13 each. These 2 for the 2-pack was like $24, $25. And he was, yeah, like $20. Looking at everything here, if I paid $100 altogether, if I paid $100 for everything you see here, that's on the high side of what I possibly paid. It's on the high side. This is the time to get these. If you're looking for Overwatch figures, if you like the toy aesthetic of, again, the 80s, 90s G.I. Joes, which are going to be getting a new 6-inch line. If you guys didn't know already, G.I. Joes are coming back in full force with 6-inch figures. But if you want something that would actually kind of fit in with those, like I said before, Reaper here pretty much just looks like Shipwreck. Just a different take on Shipwreck. If you're looking for Overwatch figures, now's the time to get them. This set, all in all, might have cost me $100. Maybe. And honestly, trying to do the math, yeah, I mean, that's the high estimate, is $100. They're worth, for 12 figures for less than $100, Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, of course it's worth it. Are they worth it at full price? I'm not paying $20 for anyone except for Reinhardt. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. I'm not paying $20 for any of these individually, except for Reinhardt. And he's supposed to be a $50 figure. So, no, I'm not gonna say to buy any of these at full price. Even ones like Junkrat, who was actually a ton of fun. He's probably the most fun that I had with any of these today. And Lucio, who was actually really neat. Even the pharmacy combo up here, they were cool. I'm not paying full price for any of them. I'm glad I got these 4 for a total of $15. Sombra was only worth the $5. Maybe 10 at best. These two, yeah, I'm glad I got this set for $5. Because 10, 15 was gonna be the most I'd pay for that. Maybe if you really got me on a day I was feeling generous. Only because I do like Ana. I don't even care about Soldier 76. Maybe you'd have gotten me to pay $20 for the set, but nah, that wasn't happening. Genji and Hanzo, kind of a disappointment because of the tiny little effect pieces for Hanzo, and Genji being a ninja having some of the worst articulation. Tracer just being an outright disappointment. Reaper being a pretty big disappointment, especially since I'm a Reaper main, and he's one of the most disappointing figures that we got. Reinhardt having some really nerfed articulation, but being just such a big beefy boy. Again, if you're into the idea of these figures, go give a look out in the wild right now. Don't be paying full price for any of them. They're all on clearance. On clearance prices, alright, you got me. I'll pay for them. For full price, nah man, I'm not doing that. That's not happening here. But, thank you all so much for joining me today. It's been really unique and unusual. I'm used to doing Marvel Legends. I'm not used to doing Overwatch figures, especially since, as I said at the start of the stream, I don't really even play Overwatch like that. I don't play much of Overwatch at all. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hopefully we're going to have a stream for you next week. Is it going to be Marvel Legends? I don't know. Like I said at the start, I've got 2 Marvel Legends as it stands right now. 2. We also have, amazingly, if we're talking about weird games that I've played like 4 times ever, we've also got some Fortnite figures that we can do an unboxing of. Yeah, that's a weird thing, but I found them for super cheap, and I really like them as background characters, so there is a chance that we can do a Fortnite unboxing next week. In the meantime, thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great day, guys. Don't forget, keep it nerdy. Have a nice one.